Okay, guys, welcome to episode 10 of Destiny Down Under. We're doing things a little differently in this episode. We've split it into Part A and Part B. Part A will be our general audience podcast, just talking about regionals, Convergence, and the RRG and Holocron update. And then the next episode, or Part B, is more focused on Australia, which will be an interview with Kieren from Let's Play Games regarding OP, or organised play within Australia. We did have it in one big episode, but the episode turned out to be about an hour and a half long. So we decided to just split it into two episodes for your listening pleasure. So without further ado, here is Part A, the regular general audience podcast, and you'll be able to find Part B nestled underneath this one. Enjoy. Alright, so on the weekend, we had the New South Wales Games Cube Regional, and if you didn't hear, Jacob took that out, so congratulations, Jacob, on your second regional win in 2 years.
Thank you.
Back to back.
Tell everyone what you played.
I played Snoke and Thrawn.
Yeah, saying the words round the other way doesn't make it any better.
Well, it's very fortunate timing with when the kind of errata came out as well. So it was the last week that they would have been playable, that bunch. But I'm really happy that I got to play. Obviously pretty stoked to get the win. All the games were really close as well. It was good competitive Destiny all rounded that day. There was, I guess as we hinted earlier, some slight issues with the organisation of the tournament. We kind of pushed through eventually and found our way to the end. But I know there was quite a few people that were a little bit upset and disgruntled about it.
Do we want to delve into that a little more, or do we want to
just keep it.
Leave it as it is?
I think we just make a blanket statement that if you're running a tournament, don't be bloody greedy. It'll pay off in the end if you look after your players now. When they start buying a lot from you, then you'll start making money, but don't be greedy. Running tournaments, the other side of running tournaments, there's a lot of resources online. Like if you're going to run a tournament, just go and check how it's supposed to be run. Just spend 10 minutes, do your homework.
Yeah.
There's no issues, right?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year in tournament organisation. With Nats, there was some criticism floating around about how that was run. There were a couple of issues with Nats, but overall, on a large scale event, I actually think Nats was fine, bar a couple of issues with Des in his buy, and there was a timing issue in the top 8 or top 4. But other than that, I actually think Nats was relatively smooth. The venue was really, really good. And yeah, as I said, bar a couple of issues, in comparison to how things were run on the weekend at a much smaller event, Nats was a breeze.
I think you need to have... Look, they give you TO prize support, right? I don't know about Nats, but it's still champs. There was TO prize support.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it's the same for regionals.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Use it to get somebody there. Or if you don't, have one of your community leaders on hand. We have Des on hand. Des is quite very knowledgeable on the rules, the intricacies of how certain interactions they work, the rounds, etc., etc. He doesn't mind giving up his time. So have a chat to your local guy first. I'll give up my time as well, but I generally ask Des. If someone asks me, I just point to Des. But have somebody there. It's not hard. Designate someone before you start that, hey, do you mind if we come and see you if we have anything? Do you have any suggestions about how we need to run this? Then you'd have the correct number of rounds if you've got somebody there that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, it was very interestingly run. The same store had run a store champs before, and that store champs actually was fine. There were a couple of judge calls that I didn't really agree with at that store champs, but other organisation-wise, it was actually really fine. So I was really surprised when this one had as many issues as it did. Now, in the store manager's defense, one of the main issues was we're not too sure whether there was an update to Tabletop 20 that removed the strength of schedule from tournaments, and that's why there was no strength of schedule applied. I'm not too sure. I haven't investigated that anymore, because that's a very important part of ranking within this game, is
For sure.
Whether you agree with it or not, it's the ranking system we've got, and when you don't have that on, it stuffs up all the pairings, and nothing really is equal.
I think pairings are done randomly anyway. But the SOS at the end matters, because there's always going to be that one person that scrapes into X2. What I heard was that there was a round missing, so there was going to be someone at X and 1 that was going to miss. That was Jacob. He was going to miss the top 4 cut because he didn't do enough rounds. Now, my thinking in any tournament is if you go X and 1, you get a prize. You make the cut. That's it. If it doesn't work out that way, they stuffed it up somewhere.
Yeah.
If you go X and 1, you make it. If you go X and 2 and you make it, you got lucky. Thank goodness for the SOS at that point. But let's not take away from Jacob's second regional win. So he's the New South Wales N boss. He's won 17 store championships, 2 regionals, and he's done it all hungover.
He just needs to back it up and take Elmo's title off him at the top ride.
That's
that's right.
Good games. Well, we'll work on that.
Yeah, we're lucky enough to have, I don't know how it happened, but we've got 2 regionals kits that have got delivered to New South Wales.
I have a feeling that's because
Kieren's going to listen to this podcast because he was on it. He's going to call for his kit back.
I have a feeling that's because South Australia isn't having a regional and ACT isn't having a regional, so there were an extra 2 to go around.
Okay,
fair enough.
That's my estimation, because I haven't seen South Australia weren't on the regionals list on the FFG website, and Canberra's just dead. Like the scene down in Canberra doesn't exist anymore. The store that was running it shut down, and I'm assuming that no one's taken it over. I know
Isn't there some people working on it?
There is. It's Sam Ryan, I think, is trying to pick up a scene.
He's got a
back
few
there
locals.
again.
Yeah, he went to Nats. Good
but,
on him.
But I guess there's just no one there to run the tournament, like for a regional.
Yeah. So stuff like that, right? When there's people, like even, I forgot his name, I think it's Jared, Macro Predator. He lives regional. So he's in a regional area where there's not big gaming communities. Stuff like that. Stuff like the guys that are still left in Canberra. Like, having TTS tournaments is really good for them, right? So they can still actually play and be involved in stuff. Let's move on. Good on you, Jacob.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah, just...
Yeah.
TTS, we'll be bringing out something for you soon.
Yeah, we're going to do something.
We'll make our own prize support.
Yeah, we're going to do something similar to Artificery, where we'll have like a 4 to 6 week league where you've got to get in 8 games with people within Australia, and then we'll do like a top 8 or top 4 cut or something like that. I think that works out better. The Smugglers run that we did was really good, but it does take a day out of your schedule, and
you have to
sometimes
get up really early.
I didn't.
Me neither, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And some people, it just suits people's schedules better if they can just jam a game at night or something like that over a week, over the course of 8 weeks or something.
I like the online leagues. I'm playing in one now on your Destiny podcast online league. Played in the Artificery ones previously. And it's good because you can just schedule a match. Doing it in Australia is great because you don't have to wake up super early to actually play your match or stay up super late to play it.
And there's no ping.
Which is fantastic. But we've talked heaps about OP today, right?
Yeah.
A little bit
All right.
about Jacob's win. Let's talk about Destiny.
Yeah. All right. So
Cards, new cards
news.
or the balance?
Yeah. Should we go balance or cards first? Let's go balance. Let's go balance.
Yeah.
Let's go balance, because then that might have some relevance on what we talk about with the spoilers. So, if you didn't hear, or you've been living under a Destiny rock for the last 24 hours, we finally got a rules reference guide and a Holocron update, and it was a doozy.
It was huge,
to say the least.
I think it was all expected stuff, though, except for a couple. But like the big ones were expected.
What do you reckon the couple were that weren't expected?
Well, should we run through them first?
Yeah.
Or...
Because
I'll-
I feel
we can
like
pull
they
it
were
up.
all expected.
Like, so obviously Snoke, everyone's been talking about it for ages. That was the expected nerf, the +1. Just like, you really cut off a lot of his pairings. You get Bitter Rivalry now. So they kind of did it in sync. So you can still play him and you get Bitter Rivalry. But Snoke at 11 HP is way different to Snoke at 9 HP.
Or Thrawn at 10 HP.
Or do you know what I mean? Like, that's you can get back to your aggro decks knocking someone down real quick.
See, I still don't think that the +1 is enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Really?
I still think that there's going to be a lot of Snoke decks.
Yeah, me too. I think it's great.
Like, yeah, very very competitive Snoke decks. I guess. Look, their intention was to immediately knock off the big bogeyman right now. There was just too many of like Thrawn Snoke winning at the moment. Cut off that pairing immediately without use of bitter rivals. That's great, but anyone who's competitive still will be able to make use of Snoke in a variety of decks.
It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out with
But
Bitter
what
Rivalry.
happens, right? So what happens is a lot of the times you're playing against these Snoke decks, and it's turn 2, and you're almost killed a guy. But then you didn't. Then they get turn 3. Then you lose the game. So now I think it changes a lot because on turn 2 you kill that guy, and then on turn 3 you get to go again. You know what I mean? I think it's going to change quite dramatically. I think it's great because Snoke's still playable. That's the best balance you could ever do to a game, is where you balance something but it's still playable. But now I think it's balanced, right? It makes sense.
See, I think the balance comes in if they just change his power action to damage only. Like,
No, because then he won't get played. Like, he'll get played in I guess. Yeah, okay.
he'd get played in an aggro deck, which is fine. But you just stop the degenerate resource generation.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest strength at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just being able to ramp up to these really juicy big cards that end the game very, very quickly.
I think it's the flexibility. Like, when you pair it with discard and disrupt and, like, being able to do whatever the game demands at that time.
But I'd like... Sorry, in terms of getting ahead on the
yeah.
board state, that's the biggest jump.
Yeah, for sure.
90% of the time you are snoking that resource side, like, and the 10% you're doing the damage, you're disrupting, you're discarding.
Yeah.
Like like you can pretty much safely assume that if you've got if your opponent has a resource or a disrupt showing, they're going to snoke that resource. You don't have to worry about them snoking that disrupt side, even if you've got 3 resources.
Sure. Well, Snoke's balanced now.
Yeah.
I think it's a good balance.
I think it's to be seen. Like,
So some things that I thought were a little off the radar. Sienna, it was a good balance because she could go nuts, but she's only ever gone nuts in a Snoke meta, where she had Snoke to power the resources, to power the untaps.
yeah, correct.
So maybe that's not as big anymore, but it's in line anyway to have it as a power action. Like, power actions come after, same as like Anka could have just been a power action. I think
Well,
it's in
FN
line.
could have just been a power action.
Yeah.
Like, I actually expected FN to be nerfed to a power action.
Yeah, so did we all, actually.
Like, I said that he'll just become a power action, and that solves the problem. Ray, just make her a power action; it solves the problem.
I think that rule was good for the game.
Yeah, it was a great inclusion, wasn't it? Power action.
The override
Like, just
rule.
to, like, a really...
Sorry, the power, yeah, both.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but, like, you can just apply that to any of those previous effects, and it would, quote-unquote balance them.
Yeah.
Strategic planning. So that was something that was like, I think that's good that they've done it. I think they had to kind of do something like, they nerfed Longcon, which is good because Longcon can just go and get out of here because, like, that's just stupid.
They didn't nerf it in the way that I thought they would, but
What, Longcon?
yeah.
But they hit it hard enough. Like, that's done. That card's unplayable. Which is good because he doesn't need to exist, right?
Yeah.
It's just stupid. The OTK decks are dumb, right? And they're all based off of Longcon. The strategic planning, I don't think... I'm not completely on board with that. But I guess if you nerf Thrawn Snoke, then the Shadowcaster decks are probably the next best thing. But without strategic planning, I think that card has just been a solid roleplay card, and I don't know if it needed the nerf. Like, it's a good card. It's not broken. What was broken about the Shadowcaster decks was being able to do it in one turn. The regular Shadowcaster decks were they were okay. They lost to Thrawn Snoke, but not much else. So I guess that's why they did it. It was just a shock to me.
I think it needed to happen because, as has been pointed out in previous podcasts, like, when you get to ready a character, it comes at a cost. So leadership, it might cost one, but you lose an entire character for a round. Price of failure, you lose a character. Whether it's a little bit more flexible because you can use that character first, but you're effectively killing your own character.
Yeah.
You're doing your opponent's job for them. Like, there's a heavy cost that comes with readying that character. Readying a Shadowcaster with 3 mods on it that has a 6... Is it indirect or direct side?
It's direct.
Direct? For 1?
Yeah.
That can't be removed?
Yeah, it's kind of bananas.
with TLT on it is ridiculous.
But then again, I think Shadowcaster should have been power actioned. So you reduce the cost once per turn by how many mods are on. And that would just fix that deck, and then you still get to keep strategic planning.
But strategic planning on any other, like, decent enough vehicle with
Still
3...
works, right?
Yeah, with 3 mods on it, it's just really, really strong.
Is strategic planning hero?
Based on, like, the
Yeah,
power of the
it is.
vehicle and the mod dice as well.
Yeah.
Being able to roll all of those in for 1 resource is just too strong.
Yeah, okay. It's strong. All right, whatever. That was my fallback plan. And then nerfed it.
And then
there
was a award ceremony as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I think that's fine as well.
What does that do now? Spot a red? Was it always spot a red?
Oh, no, so however many cards you draw, after you draw them, you then have to set aside that many cards from your hand.
All right, so it's just a big, like, loop.
It's a big
now.
cycle, but
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
even put them in the graveyard.
It does make it unplayable though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think
But they
even
always do that.
I think just like nerfing Longcon probably would have been fine.
I mean, if you nerf award ceremony, it fixes future problems, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, but award ceremony rotates out next month.
Yeah, but I think just the power of being able to draw that many cards. Maybe now they're starting to realize that with as many draw cards as there are, it's just like when you chain them all together, it's a little bit too strong.
Yeah.
They're probably just worried that, you know, it's a matter of time before you find out something else broken that you can do by drawing your whole deck.
I always wondered this. I wonder if FFG know about more broken that we just haven't found yet. You know, like, oh, I hope they don't find that.
Yeah.
You know, we better nerf award ceremony. Now we've nerfed all this. They're going to find that other combo. We'll just preemptively nerf it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Card draw's really good.
Yeah.
In this game, it's taken quite a long time to kind of get there. Like, if you look at Magic, card advantage is a really big thing. It's not the be-all, end-all like it, you know, was at one point. But I'm really liking decks that have extra card draw in Destiny. So hitting something like Award Ceremony. I don't really play events that do it as much. But something that you can play early on is really good. So, like, I'm always looking at cards decks that can draw extra cards. It is a really strong part of Destiny. That I think is super underrated right now. You know, my favourite battlefield is Outer Rim Outpost. I'm still really, really loving Afra because of all the extra cards drawn, and I think it's underrated. And maybe it was bound to happen where we started actually playing these big card draw effects, you know, without having to play blue villain. So I think it's a good nerf, and everyone put card draw in your decks.
Yeah, I mean, like, I see the big card draws land more towards combo decks.
Yeah.
Whereas the continual, like, you know, drawing an extra card per round with the battlefield you mentioned or Afra, that just helps cycle through your deck to find the really valuable cards.
Just
that little
smooths
bit
it
quicker.
out.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the nerf. Did we miss anything?
Well, the only other one that I was going to mention is I think one of the more surprising ones that wasn't nerfed, and that it might have been a little bit too knee-jerk, was Armored Reinforcement.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very, very, very strong card.
It's very strong.
But I think they didn't have to do anything to it right now.
So I'm struggling with Armored Reinforcements to find a really, really good character lineup that I like, and still have room for Armored Reinforcements. Like finding a character lineup that does everything that you want for that Armored Reinforcements deck, and still having the 3 points for Armored Reinforcements. Like, I don't think it's that degenerate at all. Because of that, you know, you have to play, like, Yoda and 2 really subpar guys, or you play the L3 engineers, which they are not mind-blowing in any way, or you play like a strong 2-character deck, but then you're playing vehicles in a 2-character deck, and that doesn't really work either. Or you play Snoke, I guess.
Look, I guess it's just the consistency of getting your big vehicle out round 1 and getting it for $1 cheaper. And if you're on Weapons Factory Alpha, you get it out for another $1 cheaper, and then you can just start loading it up from round 1. Whereas, you know, if you are an upgrade deck, you might not see weapons for 2 rounds, and then you have a very, very sad time, as I experienced today.
Look, consistency is definitely big, and I think it's becoming more and more accessible. I think Armored Reinforcement is fine, though, because it's like consistency, but it's your turn, too. So, like, even if you have Weapons Factory Alpha, you play a support, so you can play it for 2 with your starting resources. It's probably got a pay side that you can't resolve, and then you have to use your character dice to go and find extra resources, and then you're like, oh, we can play Yoda, which generates resources very well, but then your other characters are pretty average, so they're not doing damage. So it's not that degenerate. Like, I've played Shadowcaster, the L3 Engineers deck, I've played a Lando deck, I've played a Yoda version, and it's really not that strong, because just playing one vehicle, you have 1 dice for that turn, unless you can generate extra resources. But if you're looking at the decks that play upgrades, they've got 5 or 6 dice on turn 1 that are doing damage. Do you know what I mean? Like, it fixes its consistency, but I don't think it's over the top.
Talking about that, did you see that Artificery top 8 game between Eric Wainwright and Shane, where
Nah, it seems bad though. I heard about it.
Shane just got blown off the board with EMP grenades on a Plo Padawan deck.
You see, he's used a 3-point plot. He's all his resources, his whole turn, and he died to maybe a 0 cost upgrade if he played it on Plo.
Yeah.
It's not that busted. Anyway,
it was really, really funny though.
I don't just to quickly go back. You're saying so it's essentially replacing a character die, right?
Yeah.
So 3 points is a character die.
Yes.
And if you think about obviously you'll play it supports, you are gonna tech in one of those really fat vehicles, and then the benefit is you only have to really play one of your deck. You're guaranteed to find it. Let's just take the fire spray for example, because that's only costs 4, and that's going to generate you 2 resources around if you have the mods in your hand.
Yeah.
I would happily take the fire spray dice and then getting 2 resources around from that action. Then another character die, which probably isn't going to do more than 1 resource or 2 damage max.
I'm not saying it's not good, just so we're aware. I just don't think it needs to be nerfed because it's not that good. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not breaking too many rules. It's a tutor and a discount. I get it's really good when you look at it that way, but when you look at all the decks that it plays with, they're a bit janky because of the character lineups that you have to use.
Yeah, I guess it's yet to be seen. To me it seems just really strong. It has a really strong ability compared to other 3-point plots. That you have.
To be fair, Snoke Thrawn was holding those decks down, and now that's gone. Maybe it's busted. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a nice segue into our final segment. The new set FFG announced this week. Was it this week or last week? I can't remember. I think it was this week. New set called Convergence, white box with black text. Initial thoughts.
Phasma seems cool, man. You get 4 dice. That's sick.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like the idea of where they're going. They introducing the new card type is really cool as well. Even if I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to me too much yet. But just the fact that they're still creating these new things each couple of sets, it's really exciting that the game's just continuing to move forward. I don't know. To be honest, I probably was concentrating more on the getting ready for regionals, so I haven't dived into too much of it yet.
Well, let's do a quick overview. I know a couple of other podcasts have touched on it, so we won't dwell on it for too long. There's only about 8 cards to discuss, I think. Have you guys got it up on your screens there, or should I just read it out?
We can remember most of them. I think we don't have to touch on them all.
All right, so
just how bad Obi is and how good Mace is.
Yeah, Mace is awesome.
Sorry.
So we've got these new downgrades, these new cards, which have got subtypes. We've got one that's an injury subtype and two that are a bounty subtype. They're not super strong, but I guess it could be in line with how they introduce plots. Like the original plots we got weren't game-breaking or anything like that, but it just got people used to the idea of including plots in their decks. So it was just a nice little segue into including those. I guess the most interesting one is probably the wanted one. After attached character is defeated, you may gain 2 resources. We are assuming that they can only be played on your opponent's characters, and I would imagine that you would only be able to play 1 downgrade on your opponent's character, but that's yet to be clarified.
I think there was a max of 3.
There was a max of 3?
Clarified, yeah.
Oh, man, we're all going to need 2 player-sized mats just to play.
No, surely that would take up a spot, right?
No, well,
that would be too insane.
It's a
That would be
separate.
too
It's a
insane.
separate.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's a separate type. You can play up to a maximum of 3. So similar how upgrades work, but
Yeah. So
But they don't take up the upgrade slots.
they don't.
right?
Yeah, they definitely don't take up the upgrade slot. So your character
That would
can
be
have
sick,
3
right? Because
upgrades,
you can
yeah.
just override their upgrade, so they have to drop it.
yeah. I
Alright,
think
alright,
that
fair.
would be too busted.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so first legend card that we've got from the set is Jabba the Hutt, Influential Kingpin. 10 health, 2 focus, 1 disrupt, 1 discard, 1 resource, plus 2 resource, blank, 10-13 legend. He's a character leader scoundrel. After you activate this character, you may look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal a bounty or a yellow event from among them, and add it to your hand. Place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So how long till Jabba gets nerfed?
Nah, it's not going to happen.
He's a 10-13.
10-13 villain?
10-13 villain.
Curse.
Wow, with an ability. All right. The thing is,
What 10-13 villain hasn't been nerfed?
Price. I think that matters on, but she's got no good text. You see, but it's the bounties. How strong are the bounties? Like if he's finding bomb bounties, then right, he's probably sick. But at 10-13 for 10 health, he seems pretty, like, just very playable, very solid, very playable, good support character. Maybe that's the new Thrawn deck. You get Thrawn Jabba, and you get Yellow back because he's
How
got
do
that
you get
+2
Thrawn Jabba?
Thrawn.
Thrawn rotates out by then.
Oh, well, then you don't. So who knows?
I
I'm
think
gonna go now.
New Thrawn.
I think even if his text was just reveal a yellow event from among them and add it to your hand, that's still strong. Like, if you just play it without bounties in your deck, that's still pretty strong. Because, like, oh, okay, well, I get a 6-hand start with an extra piece of mitigation in my hand every round.
It's very solid. Very solid.
Yeah, the strength obviously is being able to draw the extra card there. The fact that it's yellow event, I guess it restricts it a little bit. A lot of the good removal, though, is yellow, or it was in the past. We'll see how it is once the rotation kicks in and we've got some new more cards. But I don't know how relevant the bounty will be, just based on the fact that bounties mainly, or from what they've revealed so far, it kind of is about defeating your characters. Like defeating your opponent's characters, then you get the reward. But this looks like more of a villain, like Mill Shell potentially, or just he's got
It's
the
so
1-2
early
focus side.
to know,
Yeah.
like what there's a handful of cards being spoiled. Like there could be something that that creeps in and you go, well, that's busted. I'm going to play Jabba for that, But he's a good support character. I think he's solid.
Yeah.
I don't see him being nerfed. Like he's not Snoke.
No, I'm only just like throwing it out there because of every other character.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about those downgrades, though, is it's limited design space at the moment. But you could get these downgrades that say, hey, every time your opponent activates their character, they lose a resource, or they like take a indirect damage, or something like that.
I'm guessing there's definitely going to be cards that interact with your opponent's characters that have a bounty on them, for example. So, like, do an extra damage to this character if they have a bounty on them.
Yeah, that seems good. That seems like it makes sense. Give me little rewards. We should move on to the next one.
So next one is Phasma. Stormtrooper Commander, 12 health, 1 ranged, 2 focus, 1 shield, 1 resource blank, 1821. Character leader trooper. You may resolve your trooper dice showing damage as if they were melee damage. Power action, roll 2 set aside first order Stormtrooper dice into your pool. Set those dice aside after they are resolved or removed.
I think she's very solid. I think her dice are, they're average for a 21-point character. But then you add in the 2 Stormtrooper dice, getting 4 dice for 21 points is pretty sick.
Yeah, well, you're effectively getting a 5 dice start, aren't you?
Yeah, it's actually really good. We discussed it, that you can, if you play Fist with her, Fist is a trooper, you get to resolve its indirect as melee. If you play Talzin,
I'll be so glad if I never hear that word Fist again.
So that's a cool little interaction. I think Phasma's cool. She might not be like a big staple because her character dice aren't huge, but it's very interesting to get 4 dice off of one character.
Oh yeah, she's got a huge target on her, and 12 health. It's good, but yeah, I don't know. They're going to be gunning for her as quickly as possible. It seems like it'll be a very aggressive deck. You want to take use that dice advantage that you have at the start as early as possible, and then just try and aggro someone down.
Yeah,
as quick as you can.
Yeah, I think she'll be good at that.
She'll be a solid tier 2 at least.
I would pick her up, and I'll be working on Phasma when it comes out. This is so far away that it feels weird to even be talking about it. But anyway.
Okay, so next one is, we can just touch on it briefly because it's a card we already have. First Order Stormtroopers being reprinted. Arguably the artwork's better than on the original. 1, 2 for $1, 7 points. Just a solid staple. And one of the first of many reprints, apparently.
Yeah, that's very good. Very solid card. I like it. I think it's good to have something like that exist. And I think reprinting the Stormtrooper itself, that was the baseline for stats, right?
Yeah.
So that was going off. But that was like the baseline for stats, like what you get for your points in regards to health and dice.
Stormtrooper's just always been a solid character.
Yeah, for sure.
To jam in for 7 points.
Right, what else we got?
Okay, we got a new plot. Advanced training, red, neutral, 2 points. You may resolve your trooper dice showing a blank as if they were indirect damage that have a value of 1. So you could do Captain Phasma Elite, First Order Stormtrooper, and this plot, and you have 0 blanks in your deck.
Sick.
Yeah,
but not really.
That's really
We'd rather a better partner.
Okay, so Mace Win Doggy Dog, Inspiring Master, 11 health. This guy is just a beast.
He's sick.
Like I'm just looking at him again now, and he is just an absolute beast. 1 sticks, 2 sticks, 2 sticks, 2 focus, 1 resource, blank, 12/16, character, Jedi leader, power action. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may play an upgrade from among them. Place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. If that upgrade was played on a Jedi, give it 1 shield. He's gonna be.
He's sick.
He's gonna be tier 1.
Yeah, he's gonna be very good.
And he's a rare.
It's hard. Look, in a vacuum, it's hard to say because you're always like that card looks real sick, and then like the format is completely different to what you think it's gonna look like. Like the format's not gonna be like what it is now. But that's just power. Like again, extra cards. So it seems to be a thing that's moving forward, and I think it's something that we embrace. And when it's like, it's just there. You're not playing an event for it. I guess like it's just there. You get to like claim outpost, or you just activate a character. Getting extra cards, getting that filtering through your deck is actually very strong. The thing that I like about Mace is that you could run probably a little bit upgrade light, compared to what we're normally used to without running the risk of missing, but then you get to play more good events. I think he's great, and he's gonna see a lot of play. Maybe you can play Ayla now.
It changes your mulligan strategy as well, because you don't necessarily have to hard mull for upgrades. Like, you can just upgrade for mull for resources, mull for mitigation, and then just go, okay, well, power action, activate Mace. Oh, look, there's a treasured lightsaber in my top 4 cards, and I'm going to play that, give my other dude a shield, and I'm now ahead of you.
Yeah. It's very good. I think Mace is great. And then pair him with his Saber, which I'm sure is the next on the list.
Well, the other thing I just wanted to mention was, you compare Mace to Kit Fisto. Exactly the same stats, except Kit has the 3 for $1.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd much just rather Mace Windu, like, without the pay side.
Of course.
Like,
Yeah.
even
Me too.
without the abilities, like...
Yeah, I would take a 2 over a 3 for 1 99% of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like,
Mace is great.
Kit's very aggressive. I played him the weekend before last, and he's super aggressive, but I barely used his ability, because I didn't need to, because he just killed people.
Trap. It's a trap.
Okay, yeah. So his next card is Mace Windu's lightsaber. This lightsaber is a beast as well. Like, this has got to be the best lightsaber in the game.
It will be.
It effectively has redeploy. It's got 4 damage sides, 1, 2, +3, and it's got Mace Windu's Shatter Point ability like he had on his last character, but in his lightsaber as a special.
What does it do? I didn't even own Mace, the last one.
So Mace Windu was... so if a character had less than 2 health left, you could remove Mace Windu's die to defeat that character.
Right.
So the special on Mace Windu's lightsaber is deal 2 unblockable damage to a character, then if that character has 1 remaining health, defeat it.
Yeah, seems sick.
Yeah.
And you get to power action it, right? That's the...
Yeah, I think that's where the power comes from.
Yeah.
So the fact it has, 5 very resolvable die sides, as long as you compare the modifier, but 4 of those being damage, and then the fact that you can use it twice in the round that you play it. Essentially, that's what you want to do. I mean, you don't even have to, because it's a power action. So if you don't die and you can hold up for the next round, then you can get 2 uses out of it.
Yeah. That's just value. That's so sick.
Yeah, that's what you're really looking for, is cards that just generate some extra value with the card pool nowadays.
I actually like that this is not a blue character only as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it was on Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber as well. It wasn't blue character only, which I really liked. Okay, moving on. Alright, so we're on to the starter set now, the hero starter set. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Mediocre.
I don't know.
The power action's flexible, right? Do you want to... the power action is resolve one of your dice showing a value of 2 or more, increasing its value by 1. The important thing here is that it doesn't have to be Obi's dice, it can be any one of your dice.
He's got strong sides. Like, with that power action, that becomes a 3 sticks, a 4 sticks for 1, a 3 focus, a 3 shield, and a 2 resource.
Okay, but he's 14, 18, with 11 health.
So that's... I think he's overcosted, right?
Yeah.
Compared to what else is out there and compared to old Obi. Like, for that, for 3 points, you take old Obi. For 1 point, sorry, you take Obi-Wan, the original.
Yeah, and he's got the 12 health, and he gets like 3 extra hit points.
Yeah,
he's effectively a 15 health character for 19.
I think it's a little bit expensive. That's all it is. At 12 health, but it depends again what they do. Like a whole new format. So maybe there's a sweet 12-pointer that he pairs with. They could
unnerf Ayla, and
they could unnerf.
Imagine how aggro that would be.
Too busted. Ayla's busted. Moving on. Obi was a letdown. I love Obi, and that was a letdown for me when I saw
tell you what, that artwork is sick though.
Yeah. Nah, I like the other one. I'm all about that old Obi.
Yeah.
Old
Obi's making a comeback.
Obi 2, he is.
Jacob, what do you think? You think he's playable, or?
So like Blake said, he's just a bit overcosted.
I think he needed to be 17.
You really want to pair him with like an aggressive 12 coster.
Yeah, 17 gets you Ayla, and that seems good, like a strong deck.
Yeah,
man. At 18, right now you got Barris. That doesn't seem strong enough.
So he comes in the starter kit with Satine Kryze, Hope of Mandalore. So I'm assuming that this is just sort of like the direct replacement for Maz Kanata, because she's got the double 1 focus side. She's pretty aggressively costed. She's an 8/10 with 9 health, which health-wise is slightly above the curve.
Yeah.
She's got a random 2 in direct side. Which,
what's her text?
So after you activate this character, you may reroll one of your dice.
That's such a downgrade to Maz. It's huge.
Yeah.
That's
So
such
you're
a
playing her. You're playing her for like 2 dice, which helps to give a little bit more consistency and then resources.
Yeah.
For 10. So
Yeah.
she's going to fit in like a 3-wide, 5 dice variant, or
Yeah.
she's cheap enough that you'll be able to play that plot that we were talking about before. The armored reinforcement.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then get some decent character dice going on, and then you just sink all of that focus and then run money into supports.
All right. I look forward to you testing that out.
Yeah.
Like you could run Elite Her, Elite Yoda, and then a 7-point, and you'd have a pretty sick 5 dice start.
There's no decent 7-pointers in Hero.
They have it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be around then. Anakin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you really want another yellow character? Would you not want to try and go rainbow? Like, when are we just going to get a blue 7-pointer? That's...
Oh, it'll be so sick.
They're not going to make that.
It's not coming.
No.
I hope they make it and then they nerf it. just to see you, Clint. When they're like, yeah.
My salt levels. That would actually be the day I quit this game.
It would be so funny.
I think...
All right, is that it?
No.
You know what we should quickly touch on? These new spoilers. We've covered the good ones. I'm taking over. I'm the new host. Let's.
We've got 3 more. Just quickly, I want to talk about Force Flow, because I think Force Flow could have been really good, but they ruined it.
Oh, moving on.
No, so just quick. It says action: set this plot aside to turn a die to any side for 2 points. That is utter crap. This plot should have said action: set this plot aside to turn a die to any side. Then you have ambush.
Is that still even good enough?
I think that
could be pretty decent.
That could be decent. This card text needs ambush on it for it to be decent for 2.
I think it should be concentrate. Pay $1, turn another dice. Then I would be considering it. No, too busted. All right.
No, I don't think.
like,
I don't think it's busted. Like I think that's fine if you wanted to do that. But I think for just like a game-changing play, like in round 3, where you can just sort of like bust down a character in an aggro deck, like set this plot aside to turn a die to any side, then you have ambush.
Would it be that degenerate just to have that on tap? Like, just set this... Like,
Yes, it would be.
Would it actually, though?
Yes.
Like, it's 1 dice per turn. You're just fixing it.
Oh, hey, I've got this +3 showing, and then I'm... Oh, as in just fixing the die.
Just fixing the die.
I don't think.
That's
No,
it. No
I
ambush.
don't think it would be that degenerate.
Just every turn.
Wait,
just
each
like,
round
don't set
or
it aside.
So no set aside. That would be too busted.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. They've got to
would
up
get-
the power level. Like
It would get
I've-
played in every deck then.
Like, that's worth 2 points. That's... Right now, it's not. Maybe that's like a 3-point value to do it every turn. It doesn't seem that busted to me. I would play it for sure, but it doesn't seem that. I wouldn't be sad if somebody else played it against me.
At the moment, this is worth 1 point.
Yeah,
It's worth 1
that
point.
could be good as well. We need another good 1-point plot.
Okay, moving on. So we've got 2 left. They're from the villain starter, General Grievous, 9 health, 1 range, 2 indirect, 2... Man, there's lots of 2 focus on these spoilers. Man, I hope they print all in again. While building your team, the point value of each droid is decreased by 1. Power action, reroll any number of your droid dice. He's 9/12. I like him.
He's cheap.
Yeah, I think he's good for a cheap character.
Yeah, he's cheap.
The 2 focus
he
is
could
pretty
get there.
busted on a 9/12.
Yeah, that's actually good, right? That's very strong. I think he's cheap enough that he's going to see some play. Even if you just pair him with like 1 droid and then get a decent character as well. Just to give you some discount, get like a 5-dice start if that's something that's possible. I think he's good enough. But all these 2 focus sides, if the focus is a part of the game, they should have just made that plot focus one. Anyway,
Yeah, so
he's good. He's good because he's cheap.
He'll fit in some new 5-die villain deck with that's
Yeah.
super aggressive with Talzin or Loose or something like that.
Yeah.
Final card, Commando Droid, 7 health, 1 range, +2 range, 2 indirect, $. After you activate this character, you may activate one of your droid characters or supports. He's 8 costed, which means he's 7 with Grievous. So
Solid for 7.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like
That's
the fact that if you have multiple, you can just chain them off, right? Just activate all of your characters.
Yeah.
Do they? I'm assuming they chain off each other.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's solid. I think that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think a clear favourite of mine would be Mace and his lightsaber. I think that probably goes for you as well, Blake.
Yeah, they seem really strong. Jabba's close though. Jabba is like going to be a good role player. Like he's going to be a good character. But Mace is crazy good.
What about you, Jacob?
I'm excited to build with Jabba, and I'm not sold on Mace yet.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, why not? Tell us more.
I don't know. I'm not sure if the pairing with him is going to be good enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to see who the character is that you're pairing him with.
Yeah.
The die is really strong. There's no doubt about that, and the power action's really good. But let's see the pairing first.
All right.
What if we just pair him with Luke, and then we just like bounce left and right for the whole game? Does it work? That's valuable.
Well, you'd need.
You don't get to roll it back in.
You'd need a bit of rivalry.
Yeah. Obviously, you need something like that. I'm on it. I'm on that train.
All right. We're at an hour 15. We should wrap it up because Blake said he had 5 minutes left about 15 minutes ago. So
yeah, the time has passed. I do want to quickly, like whatever. I'm late, but I'm always late, so it doesn't matter.
You're Blake.
I'm late. I can't believe that's a thing now. What are we doing now? Like, there's a holocron. We mentioned the holocron, the errata. You know, all this crap that's happened. What are we doing? What's good? What are we playing moving forward? Jacob, what are you working on?
I'm just for the fun. I'm looking at all the different Snoke decks that I can still build and have fun with.
Yeah. Let's nerf Snoke and then look at what Snoke decks we can build. Because
I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break from super competitive decks. So I'll just be having fun.
Yeah.
I think if I was going to play competitive, and there's like definitely regionals coming up very soon for some people, I'll be looking at the Snoke deck still, and Yoda. Obviously, those are still really strong.
Yeah. Cool. Clint?
I jumped on some Qui-Gon Jinn 2 Mars this afternoon. First game didn't go super well. Didn't draw into any upgrades, and it just doesn't have the super aggressiveness that Obi Mars does. Like, when you don't have upgrades. The second game I played, I won the game round 2. Wow. So, I don't know whether, like, I've just basically mirrored an Obi Mars list with a couple of changes. The event suite probably needs tweaking a bit, just because of the different playstyle of Qui-Gon, but it could be okay still. We'll see. Now that it's like...
Surely Obi's just better.
He probably is. And, like, at this stage, like, next regionals, it'll just be Obi Mars I take. I should have just taken it on the weekend.
Sounds good.
I
think I'm there as well. I think I'm on, like, gonna have another crack at Obi Mars. Yeah. I haven't had too much time to look into it, but just, like, when you take out the big decks, the aggro decks, you know, in theory should come back strong, something that can race them. So, like, Jyn Cassian seems pretty good right now, to be honest. Like, it doesn't have much. Until someone's worked out a Snoke deck, which I think exists. I played one a while back that I had the extra point anyway. But once they've worked that out, until then, for the next few weeks, aggro is going to be really big, and it's just going to be aggro versus mill. That's, my predictions after only seeing the nerf today. Like, we don't know yet.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of Jyn Cassian around. I think without Snoke dominating, Jyn Cassian's gonna shine a little bit. It's very disruptive of combo decks. As I discovered on the weekend, it just kind of pulls all your pieces out. Like, I played 2 Jyn Cassian mirrors, and they just managed to pull my jumps and my hit and runs and that. Yeah. And when it does that and it pulls out your combo pieces, it just plays way too fair. Yeah,
I think Jyn Cassian is going to be strong as long as you're the one doing that.
Yeah.
And then, like, so something that counters the aggro decks is, I think, a good start for right now. You know, I think Obi's good because it can tank and it can also lay out the damage. Providing Mill doesn't come back strong, maybe something like R2P2 or something like that. I know I'm talking about old decks, but I think right now the format goes super aggro because there's no big decks to hate it out. And then you can play something that's fairly tanky. And then my long-term prediction is, so I would be looking at Obi Maz and Jyn Cass right now, and then I think the Snoke decks don't actually go away. They go away for the meantime, and then they come back and dominate the format still.
I think that's fine, though. Like, even if Snoke does come back, it's just that Snoke Thrawn pairing that was just way too oppressive to the format.
And if you really want to, you can just play a bit of Rivalry.
Yeah.
And keep playing it.
Just play that.
All right,
It's still very good.
let's close it out. Any final comments?
None for me.
I'm good.
Cool. All right.
Gotcha.
Until next time, everyone. See ya.